So what's up guys, hope all is well. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that I've never been like a fanboy of the Sony system, but now that I got the Sony A7S3, I kind of am, and in this video I would like to share my journey of getting like a full system with lenses and all, and I got 5 lenses and these are the reasons to why I got them. So before we get into this video, I would like to tell you that if you like content like this and you want to see more videos, in the description you can see my 5 upcoming videos that will be out in a week or so. So if you want to see those videos, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. First out is gonna be this, and if you saw my last video, you know that I've gotten the Sony 35mm f1.8, and there are a couple of reasons to why I've gotten it. Now there will be reviews on all these lenses, but in this video I just want to tell you why, the reasons to why I got them, but I can't say if they're good or bad, but these are the reasons to why I got this lenses. Number one is 35mm is kind of focal length that I like to use a lot for video, and this is that 35mm f1.8. I was actually thinking of waiting for the G Master lens, the f1.4, but to be honest, for video at least, I don't think it's that important to have like the f1.4 lenses. I think it's more important for photography. And also, I really like the size of this lens. It seems to be like a good size when I read about it in all the videos that I saw. So size and also breathing was very important. I saw that the 35mm f1.4, the G Master lens, had a lot of severe breathing, and this lens didn't seem to have it. And from my initial test, it doesn't have a whole lot of breathing, so that's a win for that. Also, it's much cheaper. But it's not a cheap lens, but I got it. The breathing and the small size was a key factor. Now the second lens that I ordered was actually the one lens that I knew that I really wanted, because had seen a couple of videos, and this was probably the lens that got me into the system from the get-go. I saw a couple of videos where people were using the Sony A7S3 with this lens, and this is the 20mm f1.8, and I've actually used this lenses quite a lot these 10 days that I've had both the camera and the lenses, and I really love how the 20mm f1.8 looks on the Sony A7S3. The autofocus is snappy, same as here. It's very quiet, and also the size. This weighs around 300 grams. And looking at the competition, which isn't, to be honest, a lot of lenses, the size is very small, and also you can have like filters on this, which is a key feature. And 20mm f1.8, great. There is a review coming up on this as well, and this is probably the lens that I will be using most, because I will be starting to vlog a little bit more on this channel. Third lens is kind of a lens that I don't intend to use too much, and it's a 50mm lens. Once I do use a 50mm lens, it's actually often for photography, but for video I tend to not use a 50mm lens, and I actually went with this. This is the 50mm f1.8. Now I saw a whole bunch of reviews about this lens, and most of them are quite accurate, I would say. They were talking about how plastic it was, and it is a plastic lens. However, I would say that this is probably the best plastic fantastic lens that I've ever felt or used. Now I've used both the Canon f1.8, like the older version, which was really plasticky. Also the Nikon one, same thing there. This is actually quite a good plastic, and the reason why I got it is it was quite cheap. I mean, $200 for a lens like this is very cheap. Also, the image quality in photography, after watching those YouTube videos, was actually very good. So I was like, okay, for photography I actually like the 50mm, and I thought, why not? $200 more or less doesn't matter too much. So I actually got this lens. And also in autofocus in video, it's not as good as these lenses, because these lenses are crazy. They're like taking autofocus very fast. This is not as fast, and it does give like a autofocusing sound, but if you compare it to any autofocusing lens on a Panasonic GH5 or S1H or S5, it still beats all of those lenses very fast. I mean, It's not as good as these in autofocus, but it's very good. So yeah. Now the fourth lens that I got, 1, 2, 3, 4, is actually the 85mm, also f1.8. And there are a couple of reasons to why I didn't go with the G Master lens. I actually had the G Master lens in my basket on the computer before I actually got this one. And the reason, number one, was size. This size is kind of perfect for a camera like the A7S3. And I was thinking, well, the f1.4 doesn't matter too much for me. And also I was seeing on a couple of videos where people were comparing the G Master to this one, that this one is actually sharper. And even though sharpness isn't the most important thing for me, I mean, often I use lenses that are like less sharp, but for photography that could be a good thing. Also the autofocus, and the autofocus is very important to me, and that's why I basically got the A7S3 for the great autofocus. The autofocus seems to be better than the G Master lens. So size, autofocus, and maybe also sharpness, but as I said before, sharpness isn't number one for me, but these are the lenses, the 4 lenses that I got. So now the 5th lens that I've ordered is actually a lens that I haven't gotten yet. I've ordered it, I think I've paid for it, and I'm waiting for it. And it's a lens that is actually kind of special to the Sony system. And it's a lens that I've heard it's not the sharpest lens, but I've said before, I don't care too much if a videography lens is like tack sharp. For me, if it's sharp enough, great for me. There are some things that I wanted in my 5th lens, and that was I wanted to have zoom before, because you can see here that I only have 4 primes. So I was looking at zooms, and I also wanted image stabilization. So there were a couple of options, but in the end I was actually looking at the G Master 24-70, but I wanted image stabilization. I was looking at the 24-105 f4. Has image stabilization, but then I was also looking at the 28-135 f4 servo zoom lens, and that lens is actually made to be like a proper, maybe not a cinema lens, but like a broadcast lens. It has servo zoom, it has great manual focus, also it has autofocus and image stabilization. So then I was like, well, I was looking at a lot of videos, but you can't find too many videos on that lens. As I said, or I think I said, now that lens was made for like the cinema cameras, the FS7 Mark II I think it was made for. And if you've ever used a servo zoom, you know that that feature alone is a killer feature, and it's not often that you find that type of lenses for full frame cameras, and definitely not where the autofocus seems to be as great as it is on that lens. Now, I'm not gonna praise that lens too much because I haven't used it still. I have 2 friends that have that lens. So yeah, I'll be waiting a week or so more until I get that lens. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's a very unusual lens. You don't see any YouTubers using that lens. A lot of YouTubers talk about the 24-70, but I'm really anxious to using the 28-135 f4 servo zoom lens together with the Sony A7S3. So as I said, guys, there will be reviews coming out on each one of these lenses, but I would like to use them a little bit more before my verdict comes out. And yeah, if you want to see more videos like this, go down to the description. You will see my 5 upcoming videos on this channel that probably will be out in a week or so. So if you like that type of content, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And yeah, guys, have a nice day, and see you very, very soon for more videos like this. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.